Well, hey guys, it's Thorzax here, and it's Saturday evening. I had a few things I wanted to go ahead and go over, and actually I have a lot of things I'd like to go over, but I'm just going to stick to just a small few of them for right now. Let me turn this viewfinder around. Okay. All right. First of all, went out to the front door the other day, and this was laying on the doorstep, and I got a package from Russia. Okay, and I ended up getting my new bullet mold. This one here is the fragmenting bullet mold. If you go to Jeff's channel on Telfooey Mouse, he did a series on this. It's the one that, he used a screw down the middle of it and, to attach it to a wad, that sort of thing. Anyway, he did a pretty good review on it. So I went ahead and bought it, just to add to my collection of molds. But I'll tell you one thing I'm very impressed with. I'm impressed with the quality of these molds. The quality of these molds is outstanding. Comes with your stem. As you can see, it's got a segmented part, and the mold itself I'm doing all this while I'm looking in the viewfinder, guys. The mold itself, as you can see, as it fits in there, all right. When you close the mold, okay, it leaves a small stem there, and when you close the mold on the top, you can see that the little stem is down inside there. That creates the channel where you attach this. Well, you attach you attach the actual casting to a tail wad. And one of the things I wanted to kind of go about today is I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what I've learned so far. Okay, there are slugs that are spin stabilized, and then there are slugs that are drag stabilized. Now the drag stabilized slugs, okay, those rely on a tail wad, and like it's been explained, there's a shock wave that goes across the top of the bullet, okay, and it creates a vacuum, a low pressure vacuum behind it, okay, and whatever's in that low pressure vacuum will just get sucked up to the slug. Now if you watch, when I went out and I fired those rounds at 100 yards, when I fired the fire hydrant slug, and I fired it at 100 yards, the very first shot, if you look at it, the very first shot in that video, you will see two projectiles going out there and hitting that target. You'll see the slug, okay, and you'll also see the wad. That bullet moved through the air and took the wad with it out over 100 yards, and both of them hit the target. There was two definite impressions there, or impacts there at that same time. And it was funny. I was showing this to a friend of mine, and he pointed that out. He says, I just seen two hits. I said, you did? And he pointed it out. I said, yeah. So I rewound, and boom, there it was. He was right. So what happens is that shooting this with just a wad behind it, okay, would probably be okay out to about 50 yards. You probably get pretty good accuracy. Going beyond 50 yards with this without an attached tail wad, now that remains to be, we've already seen that. What happens is that I think accuracy suffers there. Now if you use an attached tail wad, by the way, I removed this from a Galandi slug. This is my Galandi slug, and I removed that. And surprisingly enough, fits right on that one. So I'm waiting for these. And what I'll do is I'll use some adhesive and I'll go ahead and glue that on there, and that will be my Galandi knockoff slug that I'll shoot out of my 835 or a smooth bore. You shoot these out of a smooth bore, by the way, because they are drag stabilized, not spin stabilized, but I'm going to try them in the 835 and see if that spin stabilizing with the drag does anything as far as the accuracy, and if it doesn't, well, we learned something. I don't think it's going to hurt anything to try it. But then again, I hate to take away the quotes that I've heard, but one of the quotes that I've heard is that sometimes when we get into reloading and we start overthinking things, it's like having a very nice steak. Okay, by itself, it will complement a lot of things. Baked potato, a very nice vegetable and a salad and all that other stuff like that, okay? And it belongs in that food group. Then you have chocolate syrup, okay? Chocolate syrup belongs on ice cream, it belongs in, hot drinks, and it belongs in all kinds of other stuff, chocolate milk, that sort of thing, and it complements that food group. But if you were to take chocolate syrup and put it over a nice steak, you'd ruin them both. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to avoid by combining spin stabilization with drag stabilization, and that's what this is kind of going to test for me as soon as I get the wads in. They're still on order. I don't know where they're at. I just got through contacting these guys, and I've ordered 1,000 more. So if I have 2,000 of them, no big deal. I got a lifetime supply, the way I look at it. So, what else have I been up to? Let's move on. The Lyman pellet slug. Now, this one here is from the Russian mold, okay? And as you can see, it has a deep hollow cavity. And one thing that's really nice about that mold, okay, is for about the same price that you're buying the mold, you're also getting the option of having 4 different weights in this pellet, okay? And I want to kind of expand on that. 148 grain wad cutters, okay? The hollow base wad cutters. Now I can load those, okay, on the hollow base with a full hollow base. I can go ahead and cast those where they weigh 132 grains. Then there's another pin insert that you can use in that same mold, okay, that creates a small dimple, okay, that makes the bullet weigh 142 grains. Then you can go ahead and take that out and have it flat on the bottom so it's a full wad cutter without a hollow base, and that weighs about 155 grains. So here's the deal. In a revolver pistol match at 25 yards, and you're in your time fire and your rapid fire, okay, you want to use those 132 grain bullets. They're going fast enough with a light charge to stay accurately and gyroscopically true to hit the target where you have the sights, okay? And, you're able to recover from your recoil. Boom, 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 and you're there, and then boom, 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 you're there. And so, it makes fast reaction, less recoil, and easier to shoot. However, if you take that 132 grain bullet and try to shoot it at 50 yards on the long line, now you're looking at a whole different thing, because once it goes past about 30 yards or so, that hollow base wad cutter starts to run out of speed. It has a lighter weight to it. It's designed, it's flat on the front, so it has this huge shock wave going over it, and it has the low pressure thing happening. Same thing with the slug, and it has that low pressure thing happening. And so that causes turbulence, okay? And plus another thing too, gyroscopically it's starting to slow down. You got this turbulence going on, and I have not seen the 132 grain bullet shoot that well at 50 yards. I'm not saying that it won't. With the right powder charge, it will. If you really zoom it up there, yeah, it'll shoot fast enough to carry out there and hit the target. But you're better off using a lower power charge with a heavier bullet because you have more momentum out there. Okay, you have a heavier bullet and it's going at a stronger velocity to reach 50 yards and shoot accurately. So that's the reason why that mold is made that way. So you can go ahead and you can balance out what yards you want to shoot, how accurately you want to shoot at that yardage, and what kind of recoil are you really wanting at that. And I look at this pellet mold the same way. It has 4 different inserts. So this, you can load this for a very light load out to about 30, 35, 40 yards and get very good accuracy. That's the way I'm thinking right now. I haven't shot these yet, so I might be eating some crow there. But you can make them heavier, okay, for 50, 60, 75, 100 yards, or even beyond that. You know, depending on your components. Let's put it that way. And the quality of the barrel you shoot them through, and there's other things too, you know. So, what I've done, I've taken the Cheddite red, target, hulls, and what I've done is I've loaded these with a Golandi gas seal, and then I've used a fiber wad, and then what I've done is I've cut the pedals, for, the base and the pedal part for a shot cup off of one of those pink field wads, AA wads. Now, that's another thing I wanted to say. Ounce and a quarter or 1 ounce loads for target use. You're using fast burning powders, that sort of thing, and those pink, wads will work out just fine for shooting skeet or whatever, shooting clays or whatever you're doing. However, taking that same wad and using a slower burning powder and putting a slug on top of it, you're starting to look at the column, okay? How rigid the column is in the gas seal, and that's very important. And so inaccuracies can come from using the wrong wad. The wad's not constructed for that sort of use. It was constructed for a light target, okay? I'm beginning to find that out. I'm starting to learn. And if you don't think that I'm listening to you guys, I am. I'm listening to you guys on the comments. I've been getting a huge amount of help from people, Fun Guns or Gun Fun CS. I mean, he's been great. He put a whole shebang of different wads that he's tried and that sort of thing, and he's given me advice about it. Great. I mean, that's one thing I will say about the community channels on firearms is you get a lot of advice, you get a lot of help from people, and these are, some of, you have to decipher who you're talking to, but a guy like Gun Funds, he knows what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I kind of trust what he's saying because, he's been there and done that, all right? And, I don't think he'd try to give me advice that he wouldn't use himself. You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I'll be going out and firing these. These are the Lyman pellet slug, okay? I've constructed them. I used a little bit of rooster jacket to seal that. And with this roll crimp, also, that rooster jacket helps lubricate this edge here, so when the wad goes out, it doesn't get all caught up on the plastic here. It actually slides through there very easily because it has some lubricant to it. We'll see how that works. That's another theory of mine. By the way, if you got $80, give these molds a try. I mean, if you look at the Lyman pellet load, the 525 grain, pellet load, that or pellet mold itself, that right there is about $80. And you don't even get the handles. With this thing, you get the handles and you get 4 different inserts, you get the whole 9 yards. And, can't tell that one from the Lyman. That, I'm sure it's a little different because of copyright, but I'll tell you one thing, I got a feeling this is going to shoot just as good. I don't think there's going to be any difference. So, covered the thing about the tail wads, covered the thing about the fire hydrant, which that thing is a monster. And one thing I like about it, now there's nothing wrong with firing these Galandes. They're excellent. However, I wanted to get into a mode where I can make this. Other than the tail wad, but I can make this round itself. And I've been able to accomplish that. Excuse me, I'm going to have some coffee. So, here's something else I wanted to kind of go over. I was watching Timothy Robinson the other day, and he had a Star pistol that he was able to pick up. He got it for a very reasonable price. I'll tell you what, I've owned 2 Star pistols. I had one that was a 9mm Largo, and I also had one that was 45 ACP. And I'll tell you what, I shot the ballooning off both of those, and they never gave up. There's a lot of budget-priced guns out there that you don't really have to spend a lot of money on in order to get something decent that, that's a working gun. It's something that you're going to take out in the woods. If you're going to go, camping with a family or something like that, and you just want to take a pistol with you, you got a pistol that you can just throw it in a backpack, and then you got a gun with you, and it's just a nice little, assurance while you're out there camping, I have purchased 2 shotguns since I started this series. 2 that I've been wanting, actually. I wanted to get a security Model 500 Mossberg, which I got. It has an 8-shot tube and a smooth bore. And what I recently bought was a Maverick 88. I went into Walmart and walked up to the gun counter there that they just opened, by the way. And for $177, I walked out the door, 28-inch barrel, had a screw-in choke, had the whole 9 yards. And I don't think I'm going to be able to fit this whole thing in the frame here. But there are differences between the Maverick and the Mossberg. And they're subtle differences. Main thing is that the Maverick is made for economy for the company. Okay, it's Mossberg, and it's assembled by Mossberg, and some of the major parts are made by Mossberg. However, like the trigger assembly, the stocks, some of the other parts inside, that sort of thing like that, they're made in Mexico, and then they're shipped across the border. I think the location is like Grants Pass, Texas. Mossberg has a facility there where they assemble the whole thing. So, it's made by Mossberg. Basically, you no longer, one thing about the 88, you don't have the thumb switch up here. You have the safety down here on the trigger, which I don't really mind. I don't really mind that being there. Another thing too, it's not drilled and tapped, okay? But here's the deal: if you're handy, that's not a real big deal. I mean, if you can operate a drill press and you got a set of dial calipers and you go online and you buy a Mossberg 500 one-piece rail, all you got to do is measure it out on the top of the receiver, drill and tap the receiver, screw it on there, and then you got a scope on your shotgun. No big deal, I didn't buy this to customize it. I bought it because I just want to shoot it and, to have some sort of test media for shooting my slugs. And I've never had a bird gun. I mean, I had the rifle, 835 for a long time, but I've never had a real bird gun, 28-inch bird gun, So here it is, you know. And I've never really been a real shotgun guy. It has a ventilated rib. You know, it's got the screw and choke into the back. I mean, in there, you know, in the muzzle. You can take that out. I still have to, you know, read all the fine print as far as the owner's manual and that sort of thing, as far as, you know, whatever else it has. But, you know, I've been looking on the internet. There's, like I said, there's subtle differences. For one thing, you know, this is all one piece. You know, the fore end is all one piece with the rail bars and all that other stuff. They did that to simplify manufacturing, make it for a cheaper price. Also, another thing too, the sling swivel in the back here, that's molded into the stock. But then again, here you go. If you want an actual sling swivel in that, you can grind that off and put a post sling swivel. I mean, what are they, $1.25? That's no big deal. One of the other things that I noticed as well, on the fore end, there's no place to attach a sling. You have to end up either replacing this plug or drilling this plug out and then threading this and then putting a sling swivel on it. You know, there's a number of different things you can do. Like I said, same thing with the scope mount. If you're handy, you can go ahead and you can put a scope mount on it. $177. You know, I mean, what do you expect? As long as it shoots good, that's all I care about. So, anyway, the 835 has had an upgrade. I took the Bushnell red dot off of it, and I installed a AccuDot. These are excellent. When I shot on the line, this is what I used on my pistols. I had a spare one downstairs in my my toolbox, you know, for all my gun stuff. So anyway, it fit right on there. So no big deal. So anyway, guys, that about sums it up. Didn't really have much else to really talk about. When we go out to the range next, we'll be shooting these. These are the pellet slugs. And I'm hoping to get out there this next weekend. So, we'll do that. So, anyway, hey, this is Thorzak's. And tune in next time. I appreciate all my viewers. I appreciate all your comments and your feedback. I appreciate my new viewers, the guys that have signed up for my show. And like I said, you know, this is all stuff that I never expected. I'm still learning this on the shotgun thing. I'm on the learning curve here. You know, I haven't even went out and bought a shotgun reloader yet. I've just been reloading these, you know, just using new components and then with a roll crimp. Eventually I want to go ahead and get a machine, but later on, got a few more bridges to cross before that happens. So anyway, this is Thorzak's, and until next time, we'll catch you later.